The topic is heat stress and how much stress our orchids have to suffer through now that this global warming has caused
I know.
an awful lot of warm days here in Florida, even though they're a lot cooler than up north sometimes. But one of the things that I found out was that, like people, orchids prefer cooler, shadier environments that can suffer from heat stress during the hot summer months. The midday sun is intense and will burn your head if you don't have any hair. High temperatures can burn your orchids quickly, especially more sensitive types such as Phalaenopsis, Paphiophyllums, and Miltonias, which who has a Miltonia? Nobody. Who has a Paphiophyllum? 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And they're already experts and they know what you have to do. And who has a Phalaenopsis?
I have two now.
There's a Phalaenopsis. Guess what? Phalaenopsis don't like the same things that other orchids like cattleya. Phalaenopsis like to be a high humidity, which is higher than what cattleya is like. Now, who has a greenhouse?
I have an orchid house.
That
An orchid
counts.
house, an orchid room.
An orchid house, well, that's a step up. From putting it under your tree. Okay, so this program we have here has a lot about a greenhouse, so you'll have to eat your hearts out and wish you had one like that. But unfortunately you don't. But I will tell you, they're not that hard to build, and they're not that expensive if you got, I don't see any husbands or people that know how to work with stuff. So, I guess you go lady, unless you're a
Yeah.
carpenter or aluminum greenhouse builder, you're gonna be sad that you can't make your own greenhouse. But these are that you buy from Home Depot and Publix. They're growing in a great big greenhouse, and they're really tough to keep alive and bloom next year. How many have found a one from Home Depot or Lowe's or Publix and then bloomed it next year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, when you bloomed it the next year, did they have as nice a bloom? No. You did?
No.
Okay, so you guys must have the perfect conditions for Phalaenopsis. Because these aren't made they're made to come home and put on the coffee table and look at for 3 months because they can't move forever, which is what they great. But they aren't made to do anything beyond that. It's just in their nature. They grow up with trees up in the jungles of the Philippines and Thailand and places like that, where they grow sideways on the tree so that that's hanging down. So you gotta sometimes get that to grow it, so don't feel bad. That's my word, don't feel bad.
I just got 5 for Mother's Day and birthday. So what's the best thing to do when they come from the florist? They're all packed in the moss. And so is it best to take them out of that and so that the roots don't rot and all that moss? What's the best thing to do when you just get them?
Okay, well, I don't know. I'll tell you what I do. I leave them as a boss, because that's not that for Phalaenopsis, that they like to be voiced. But
The roots rot easily.
do they have a hole on the bottom? No. Most of the things that you grow in, that you get at Home Depot, things like that, they don't have a hole on the bottom. So they're really tough to keep, pretty nice to keep on. You laugh about
No,
that, but that's
just
about
that.
the greatest way of getting it.
Thank you.
Get it soaking wet. It's this what it is. Rotting the roots. Where I've gone by, can you hear me? Where I've gone by, I forgot.
The camera.
Right on the water, and there's,
Don't fall.
how many people have been to my place? Okay, well, you should come and see. Anyway, so we're right on the water, and you can see right through the place where there's no house back across the water, and you can see underneath the 1A bridge, and you can see all the way out to the A1A bridge, and that wind blows under those bridges all the way from Africa and comes right through my yard. And it is just like amazing. And so I don't have a greenhouse anymore because the yard also floods. Our house floods like this deep inside the house. So there wasn't much sense putting in a greenhouse that would get washed away with all these hurricanes we have. So anyways, I put 12 poles in the ground and struck some shades. And I put aluminum over the top of the screen I had there, because the aluminum is supposed to reflect the sun away. And so I have a lot of wind. And in my screen room, like everybody else has, we bring in the bloomers and put them in there, and the babies are in there, and I have a fan, and the fan goes 24/7, 365, and I leave here at 366. Except when my wife shuts it off because she thought it was too cold. Okay, I think I got off the point. Okay, so now what are the
Oh.
Would you like me to hold that?
Okay, and I finally found out why these are yellow. You know how the reefs are going bad and bleaching because of it's too warm for them? And the chlorophyll dies in the little polyps in the what do you call those? The corals. And so then they lose all their algae. Same here. It doesn't lose algae, but it loses its chlorophyll from the heat stress. Well, I didn't know that. I said, what is wrong with this stupid plant? And then, look how
Too much sun.
little the flowers are. That's how it's
Yeah. Not the sun.
So I was all upset and I said, what in the world? And I turned on my automatic watering, which is where that is. And I said, well, I have a little spigot I can turn on to clean out the algae that builds up in the white pipe that goes across. And so then I cleaned out the sprinklers, the sprinkler heads, because they get algae in them and they don't work. So I cleaned them off. So then like a couple of weeks later, I go and put my watering on manual. I say, what in the world, they're all bad, nothing's going on. These things feel so dry, I can't believe it. I have to buy a new thing, or what's wrong with this? So then about a week later, I go around to the side. I never shut off the spigot.
Ooh.
The water was coming out of the spigot and drowning my yard. So that's what caused
I did that the
uh,
other day.
my headaches. And luckily there were some plants that did okay. This one did okay, I don't know why.
I'm glad you don't know why.
That's the Callista blossom, Dakota, which they bought at Redlands, one of the shows. I have to bend this to get it into the car. This didn't look too bad. This is too bad. It's Purpurata flavia. See how those are yellow? So they're not too happy. Oh, here's the worst one. Well, not the worst one. Here's one that is, you can see it's suffering from no water and all this heat. So when you got all this heat, the only thing you can do is put air on it and water it. Now, some people say, well, what about misting it? I could get a mister from someplace or other. I could get a mister. Well, usually misters aren't too good because
They hit the flowers.
huh?
They hit the flowers? The
Well,
misters,
yeah.
yeah.
But they also make it too, I don't know, just misters, just a lot of experts say I don't mist because they really aren't the way to go. You gotta have like rain. Like the sprinkler that looks like rain. Okay, so when you're watering, you could use like a shower attachment on your thing that's like rain. So that's about the two things that you could do for heat stress. What time is it?
20 after 12.
Okay. So we got 10 minutes, maybe I could. Okay, this is an old program I had. Okay, I'm gonna put this down. Okay, this is in the greenhouse.
Wow.
So you can see how much nicer those plants grow in the greenhouse. I just love it. It's just so buoyant and its humidity, what? Goes away?
You're good.
And you can see up here, here's the little things I use for water. That makes like rain. So look at the slipper orchids could grow great in this greenhouse. These fans are one of the keys. I had two big fans like that. And on the other side I had well, anyways, I had the two big fans, and on the other side I had what's called a wet pad. And the fan sucked the water through the wet pad, so it made humidity and just a buoyant atmosphere. Things like would grow like crazy. Hey,
The
look at
fan
that.
doesn't dry them out?
Huh?
Does the fan dry them out? No.
No, because the fans suck the air through the wet pad. A wet pad is like a cardboard
Oh, okay.
box, and the water runs down through it, through like slanty little cardboard things that look just like if you took a cardboard and looked it sideways, and so that cools it off, and it also makes it more humid. And when you get in there, you say, I want to like put a chair in here and just stay in here forever.
What kind of screen is that, Jamie?
Oh, what?
What kind of screen is that you have on your,
Screen?
yeah, what kind of cloth is that?
This?
Yeah,
That's, not a screen, it's, plastic cloth, it's for greenhouses, I forget what it's called, Griffalon, I think. But see, it's very strong, because it has the little, strings in it, and it's like sandwiched together. So it's very strong to put over the top of your greenhouse. Then these things here, you could snap that on, and here, bring it all the way down so that, I can repose it in the winter. So it's really good. You can have a greenhouse, that's the best thing to do, like if, say you win $5,000 in the lottery. You can't buy a car or anything, but if you could buy a three, we've got one guy here, maybe he could come and
He'll
put in a
build one for
greenhouse.
everybody.
Now, once they're yellow, will those eventually green back up, or do you have to cut them out?
I'm
The
gonna
one of
cut it off.
these,
I'm gonna cut it off,
You
because
gonna
they're
cut it
also
out?
the oldest ones.
so that they, if you proper fertilize and everything, they will not turn green?
I don't know. I'm trying to tell them that, I don't know, I'll tell you if they green back up. Okay, so anyways, this is Griffalon, this is from Home Depot, 6 mil, plastic. So we're not talking about winter, but that's what I use in the winter to close everything in. And this is an orchid tree, which, do not put an orchid tree anywhere near where you don't want it when it gets big. They get very big and they bend everything down here. And you can also put stuff in your backyard like this. It's under the oak tree, but those are all slippers. So I gave it more shape by just putting some shade cloth that I got at Home Depot. So that's just white shade cloth that covers the slippers that's on the fence. So, you know, these were cool. So I was over to Judy Wagner's. Mother passed away the other Mother's Day. And she's also into slipper orchids and frags now. So she had put the slippers, she put more shade cloth. She had a greenhouse, but not with the wet pen. So she put more shade cloth and had 2 fans blowing right through them. And you can see the difference between the side that had cattleyas and the side that had slipper orchids and frags. So you can control the temperature somewhat with fans and extra shade cloth, but you gotta like figure out what you want. If you want cattleyas, that's one thing. If you want fails, well, that's, I don't recommend having a whole bunch of fails. You should have cattleyas. You can have deads don't mind the heat. Chromatophyllums don't mind the heat. What else? Cattleyas act up when they get too hot and they start having poor blooms. So the frags, the summer frags blooms are bad, and in the winter they're really nice. So you gotta think out what might be best for your situation. If you grow them under a tree, you gotta water them by hand. Cattleyas are pretty good for that. But oh, another thing, the intergenerics. And at the last show, all the dealers had a whole bunch of intergenerics, which are like, I don't even have a picture of one. Who knows what I mean by intergeneric? Anyways, real pretty things that grow straight up.
Oh, the tree orchids, like, they go up the tree.
Vanilla orchids?
They're like, they're called Wilsonaras or Alexiaras or Obsidian types. Oh, never mind. Don't find those. They grow in the greenhouse in Hawaii, and they send them over here to sell as potted plants. And they will go backwards and go backwards and go backwards each year, so finally they die.
What about the cataseums, won't you keep them?
Oh, cataseums are the best.
Mine is in the
I know, I love them.
finally. And when I got it, the
Cataseums are good for the weather of Florida, because they love the heat, and they love
They having a different meeting out there?
what?
Are they having a different meeting out there?
That lady there. She's a marijuana. You can sit over here. Anyways, cataseums are really good because they don't care about the rain. They like plenty of water. You can like water them in the rain and they don't mind it. They don't mind the heat. And they,
A lot of sun or little?
what?
A lot of sun or medium?
They can even like sit in a lot of sun.
A lot of sun.
If they have a lot of sun, they usually have female flowers, which of course they are what we would call or plate. And if they're in the shade, they tend to have male flowers, which are like so beautiful. Definitely. So that's the Catasina. How many have Catasina?
this way. It's not right, it's not right.
Who does it? I wish they Who does it?
I don't.
Who does it? I wish that they did. Wait, you can buy this one.
How much?
How much?
It's a cat. You got more? Here, this way, this way.
Here's a Catasina that has the new growth up on the top. I forgot to tell you that it's good because in the winter, you take them out of their house and you
It's like a kiki?
leave them dry
Is it
out. Yeah,
kiki?
that's like a kiki.
Kiki, okay.
And they dry out, and you could, put them in your garage and wait till they have a new growth, like the other trees over
How
there.
about during winter time?
Huh?
During winter time?
Yeah, you can,
Temperature?
they can go down to 28 degrees.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard about this one. I'm learning something.
I've got one. I want
Oh, look at that beauty. Show her.
That just
For me?
old.
Oh, thank you.
One of them would have. Yeah. That means black.
There's two of them. Two kikis.
That just gives me one.
Wow. Thank you.
Is that a Florida oak?
Okay. Mother makes
Right
me.
here. Oh, here.
Yeah, that's an oak.
Is that a
Yeah, you got a
Florida
yellow
oak?
one, didn't you? Yellow one? I don't remember about a couple, and then I only one that I have no idea what it was.
A year
Yeah, I know.
looking for a lot that had
It's on
enough.
Yeah.
Finally, we found this lot,
It's getting there
and,
now.
the house,
I do.
bid on it, if we put the house on the crooked,
It's got a lot of these on it. This one has a lot for me. I have others now that have lots on them, but I haven't given them yet. I'm gonna start getting a few more now. I know that they will live for me. I just hate to buy things when they die.
Who has a swimming pool? We have orchids around the swimming pool? Orchids around the swimming pool? I put, this white lattice plants and stuff, and orchids all around it. And they really like that. Look at that crack there.
Do you prefer?
Oh, here's the catasetum around the pool.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And not only that, you can swim in a pool and I think then you're in Belize. Then you're in Belize looking at the Amazon River.
Do you prefer a certain type of container or pot for your orchids? Because it looks like you have lots of different ones. Do you prefer a certain type of pot for your orchids? Because it looked like you
I
have,
don't use that kind of pot.
I love these. But I mean,
Yeah,
when
white
I,
plants, clear pots are good if you're up in New Jersey, but the guy in New Jersey told us that they're banned out here because we have more ultraviolet rays and they somehow hurt the white clear pots.
Gross.
But, I use just the green plastic pots for almost everything. Because they're so cheap, I buy them by the box.
so the orchid pots that you usually see that have the slices in them, you don't use those?
I don't use them. I got them, but I used them before, but they're just too heavy. Actually, it seems like I'm using them here, but the green pot is just inside them, because the clay pots hook onto the hookers better than the plastic pots do. So here's, here's a canister up in the garage. It gets its roots, and then after it gets to the roots of the garage, then you can pot it up. And when you got it, after it gets to the roots, you'd have to pot it sideways.
Okay, sideways.
They don't mind being buried.
Yeah.
I have
Because of the
one
way
like
that's
that,
coming out.
and all I keep getting is babies and leaves, no flowers, nothing.
But more sun is usually the trick.
What?
More sun is usually the trick.
It's in the sun. It gets sun from about,
Right.
I say 11, 12 o'clock until evening.
More fertilizer,
Fertilizer.
and your turf.
She's cursed.
I'm up.
Or I am.
Guppies. Start keeping guppies. Give up on them. The other thing you can do is put your orchids on an oak tree, then they don't mind the heat. Somehow, being on an oak tree, you don't mind the heat, and they don't mind the cold either. All the stuff I've got on the oak trees, even if the rhinophyllum that dies, it's in a pot and it gets below 50, 40 degrees, and it dies. These, see how the roots go into the bark? Isn't that nice? I mean, on top of the bark, not into it. Okay, we have another. Here's a different, anesthesia types. The different like ours, those are really nice. And the green one. And the black one. There's a beautiful girl with
That's how big they can
Chisis is another one, should have some chisis. They're almost impossible to find at shows for sale, but a chisis is like carved out of ivory, and they're very forgiving, and they don't take a blueberry long like a week or 10 days, but they grow and they can be out in the full sun and the rain and everything. So keep that in mind if you see a chisis. Or you can come over to my house and then you can talk me into giving you one. I think my time's up.
12:43.
Placing a mounted plant pot. Placing a mounted plant. Placing a mounted plant in an empty clay pot can help maintain moisture around roots. The microclimate or higher humidity helps prevent heat stress and aids heat stress plants in recovery. Signs of heat stress. Yellowing of plants and leaves. Too much light causes the plant's chlorophyll to deteriorate, which can turn your orchid anemic yellow-green and eventually cause premature loss of leaves. Withered leaves. Sunburn. Well, we all love sunburn, right? Yep. Leave it in your back seat with sun coming through the window. Leathery leaves. Finally, we always have someone care for your orchids while you are away on summer vacation. Ha ha ha. Then when you come home, you say, what happened?
Mom, there won't be anything left.
I thought you were going to water my orchids. Well, I did. I came over every day and watered them thoroughly. They rotted away. I didn't have any time. I was with Hawaii. Who wants instructions on this? You do? I need 3 copies for this people.
They all different?
Okay, that's it.
Use that.
I just can't see it in the cell because I thought the speaker wasn't going to
Thank you.
bring anything, but I see that's